Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped, and the guy just didn't get it?
It's snowing. Just stay here. You can sleep in my bed.
To be honest, I would just think to myself, she is really nice offering me that. I better not screw this up by trying to sleep with her. And then proceed to say, it doesn't seem so bad, but thank you. My dumbass would just say, but where would you sleep? It's okay, I have good tires, I'll go home. Thankfully, my girlfriend now just laughs at my stupid, thinking it's a joke until my brain catches up. We were discussing costumes, and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit and said I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home or that would suck. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me, and it took him a minute to catch up. Friend was complaining he was hot because of his long-sleeve shirt. I said, oh, I'm sure you'd be just as hot without the shirt. He was so unaware, but I finally just kissed him. I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on. A guy I'm currently seeing invited me camping earlier this month. We were cuddling, and I noted how nice the showers are in the bathroom at the provincial park. I said, "They're really warm and lots of space for 2 people," trying to hint for him to join me for sexy time. This man, without missing a beat, says, "Actually, you could fit like 10 people in those showers." We laughed about it really hard the next weekend, and he said, "I knew what you were getting at, but my brain just wanted to answer it logically." Guy here. A girl took my hat off, started running her fingers through my hair, and asked, what did I do to get it so smooth? I proceeded to tell her all about the new shampoo I'd switched to a month before until she cut me off. A girl came to my house once and spent the night. Around the time for bed, she told me she doesn't sleep with a top on or panties. I told her that's okay. I'll sleep on the couch so she can be comfy. She called me from downstairs later that night and told me she couldn't sleep and she was cold. I figured, well, obviously, you're naked. So I gave her another blanket and went back downstairs. Straight up told him I like him. I think his response was something like, but I'm kind of trash, or something self-deprecating. He's friends with my best friend, and she confirmed that his depression is so bad that it takes a lot before he actually accepts any sort of positive attention. I think to some degree it's mutual. Hard to tell, as I too am oblivious when guys drop hints. I asked a guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower, and I was like, well, they are big. I'm sure it's fine. And he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it, and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen. We were playing Don't Drink and Drive on Mario Kart, just the 2 of us. I was trashing him, so I gave him a chance by lying sideways across his lap for the entire race. He didn't take the hint. We started dating 2 weeks after that. One time a girl straight up asked if I wanted to take my pants off, and I didn't get it. I was like, nah, they're actually not uncomfortable at all. Usually when girls ask you to take off your pants, it's for their comfort. No one wants to come in contact with the kind of tough fabric a lot of pants are made of when they're sleeping. Also, always take off your belt. That's just cruel to accidentally poke someone with your belt buckle. Asking him to take a picture with me, hugged him a couple times, told him he has nice hair, started smelling him, and told him he smells nice. I even looked in his eyes for like 2 minutes. Turned out he was gay, LMAO. My fiancé thinks leaving my bedroom door open when she spent the night, when we were just friends, and she lived out of town, and there was absolutely no reason for me to think anything romantic was going on, was obvious. I got up and closed the door because the AC was on and was low-key miffed. Edit. We were friends for a long time before we got together, and she had a meeting early in the morning, so I gave her my bed and slept on the couch. She left the door open thinking I would take the hint. Do you know how creepy it would be if you tried to hope into bed without her asking if she wasn't into you? I am a guy, but I can share my density as the guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used to small talk while I browsed and never bought anything. Bring a poor college student. This time I came in the store and she said, and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She complained, "I'm going to be home alone tonight. My family is out of town." I replied, "Oh, that's too bad." She says, "I'm off at 5 today." It was 4 at the time. "What are you up tonight? I'm up for anything." "Oh, nothing, just sitting at home and watching a movie." My brain must have completely self-destructed because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. This was some years ago. I was 22, had been talking to this guy for a while, and was ready to lose my virginity. I was a college student living at home, but my mom and stepdad were on vacation celebrating their anniversary, and I figured this would be the perfect time to make my move. He and I already had a date scheduled, so before we went, I cleaned my room and the entire house from top to bottom, created a chill playlist on my computer to listen to, shaved every necessary inch of my body from the forehead down, put on sexy underwear, and waited for him to pick me up. We went out to the movies, and when he dropped me off at home, I invited him in with the added context and in a leading flirty tone of voice that we would be all alone and had all the time in the world to do whatever he wanted. He said, "That's all right. I'm sure you want to enjoy this time you get without your parents to be alone." He was sure, and he was wrong. I just stared at him for like 10 solid seconds in silence before I nodded, said, "Yeah, that's true," and got out of the car. The walk from my driveway to the front door was the real walk of shame, and I hadn't even gotten any good sex out of it. After that, I sat in my very clean house in my sexy underwear, eating pizza and wondering how that could have gone differently. It was my first time trying to seduce a guy into sex, and it failed miserably. I laughed about it though, and I still laugh about it now. I just figured it wasn't in the cards for me yet. Ended up losing my virginity a few more years later to the guy I'm currently engaged to, so it worked out wonderfully. He's pretty good at picking up what I'm throwing down. On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could, around 3 a.m., when we were both fighting to stay awake, I finally had to look his dumbass in the eye and ask, "So, are you going to kiss me or not?" Though he was totally oblivious, it did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that. I freaking made out with him, but apparently because I didn't sleep with him on the first date, he thought I wasn't interested. I'm a guy, but one time I was hanging with a longtime friend of mine who I used to have a crush on and who knew that I had a crush on her and had rejected me numerous times over 7 to 8 years in her dorm. We decided that we were both tired, but her other bed was occupied by our other friend, so I was going to lay down on the floor. She was like, "There's room in my bed for you anytime." So I hop in bed with her, thinking nothing of it. The next few minutes were kind of a blur, but eventually we were literally hugging with her leg wrapped around me, and she looked me in the eyes, bit her lip, and said that she was horny. I never made a move beyond that, since she had spent the past almost decade of my life rejecting my advances. He invited me to his house to watch a movie after a few dates. He ended up playing League of Legends for hours while I was laying in his bed, and asked him many times if he would like to join. Sorry, just one more match. We dated for 2 years. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain, from sunset until like 2 a.m., sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he's attractive, etc., he turns to me and says, "How do you tell if a girl is into you?" When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie. But this was a small bed, and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him, and he kept inching backwards too, since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way. He ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later, we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair, he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it. But I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. Usually guys don't simply miss the hint. They are often too nervous and either let it slip by their subconscious or notice it and don't know what to do with it, so let it go. You really have to be direct if you want a response. Edit. Usually, but not always. Yes, many hints certainly do go unnoticed. There is fear on both sides. Fear of coming on too strong and being rejected, and being too vague as a result. And then fear of misinterpreting hints and ignoring them as a result. If only we ignored our fear 10% more, how many millions of good times around the world would occur as a result? Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments if something like this has ever happened to you, or feel free to share your own story.